I'm pretty sure DC is looking for a strong comeback, but let's see how they do it with this movie. It's Black Adam, broad destructive, smokes everywhere, lightning, dust, particles, liquid. Houdini is at work. The movie begins with a history of Kandak, which reminds me of Black Panther 1. We saw Wakanda in Black Panther and Kandak for Black Adams. Black Panther had vibranium, whilst Black Adams chose to go with Aethanium. The overall story, cinematography, and grading is torn in between Black Panther, Avengers, and Grand Theft Auto Liberty City. That's just my take. Since this is a 3D channel, I'm only going to focus on the CGI aspect of the movie. Before I begin with the CGI breakdown, these are my two favorite scenes. I love the camera angles they chose. It's well calculated, smooth, and it gives the action sequence some type of a god level look. Color theory is dope. I think the graders had to do a lot of work to come by this. If you look into most of the wide shots from this particular scene, almost all the beam lights have blue to it. Shadows are completely dark. Also, all the close-up scenes have tiny bits of green to the skin tones. They are so rich and well thought of. Okay, this is my favorite scene too. I must confess I'm not a fan of the music under this scene, but what really caught my attention was its movement and transformation. Whoever rigged and animated this character for this particular scene is on a different level. Check this out. He doesn't get his step right because he doesn't transform on regular basis, and for that reason, he losing his step enables us to be a part of his awkward transformation process. This scene is top notch for me. I bet you wish you had it in your portfolio, but you don't. Okay, so let's break down some of the most difficult scenes in this movie. This is the Rock of Eternity where Black Adam first shows up. This is one scene that brings trouble to post. Shot on green screen, from the 3D build-up to compositing will be really challenging for both VFX supervisors and the artists on deck. Now check this out. So over here, Adam grabs one of the mercenaries by the neck and electrocutes him until he dissolves and turns to ashes. Now, the only possible way to achieve this is first of all create a CG character of the actual human Adam has grabbed. So they would have to replace the human with a CG version during the electrocution process. You have shot 1, which is the actual human moving towards Adam. Gotcha! They couldn't have achieved this without switching the camera angle. Now what Adam has in his hand right now isn't the actual person, but rather the CG character. They really did a good job at making the CG version look the same as the actual person. This is crazy. That's some critical, well paid attention to details character right there. Now with the human being out of the way, this created character can now be fried easily. Compositing can't go wrong with this many effects going on. A lot of mistakes can be hidden under the hood without us noticing it. God bless compositors. They did a very good job at blending the two together. Dude is electrocuted and fried to ashes. His skull is crushed off his neck and oh wait, look, he loses his jaw after the last roll. Awesome. After making some deep surfings, I present to you the best Photoshop, 3D Code and Blender complete combo course to you. This course is made up of 88 lessons. Completing the 88 lessons will help you understand how to construct epic buildings and structures. Also, the course takes you through the process of modeling, texturing, lighting, rendering, and compositing. Now, before you begin, you are presented with tons of references in creating a block out of ideas in Blender. Then you move on to creating assets in 3D Codes according to the blockouts you created in Blender. Later on, you build 2 scenes in Blender with those assets and create a solid composition and environment with them. Finally, you will post-process your renders in Photoshop and also add some extra details there. This is a super cheap course for people looking to take Blender and 3D Code to a different level. You can get this course by following the link in my description box and at a super lower rate using this coupon code. On top of it all, it's Black Friday. Paired with this coupon code is the best deal ever. If you've heard of Houdini before, you know what it's capable of. Initially, Black Adam had to use the door anytime he was getting into a room, but they realized it would be much cooler to let him break walls into rooms instead, simply because Houdini could achieve that easily. That was all. Simply because of Houdini and nothing else. Okay, let's talk about the LED stage used in Black Adam. This background is LED. This one too. And this one. Oh, another one. I think this whole scene was made on LED. LED contributes 10% to the background we see in this movie, and the remaining 90% isn't on location but rather on a green and blue screen. Now, the reason behind using LED stage is really simple. With the LED stage, you are able to adjust a lot of things in real time, especially lighting. Now, the main software they use for this type of production is Unreal Engine. Usually after shooting, if you want to change the color of the sky or location of the sun, you have to edit it after and wouldn't be able to see the result until the next day. But with Unreal, the artist is able to adjust the lighting in real time and play around with different color and effects. The LED was heavily used on Boba Fett and The Mandalorian, I think. Yeah, no blue or green screen on that movie. If this type of production takes over green screen successfully, then that means production houses wouldn't have to hire too many VFX artists on a movie project. Seems to me the computers are slowly taking over our jobs. We need to come up with a plan before it's too late. Okay, let's move on to my second scene. This is when Adriana calls Shazam, but then Black Adam appears instead. There is some major VFX work going on here, which makes this a real heavy sequence. I don't composite, so I can't feel the pain, but I'm looking at this scene from a 3D artist and a cinematographer's perspective. They had over 150 shots alone for this sequence, which means it's complete CGI, and that's how I know the compositors struggled. I'm beginning to think of practical VFX, but then my question is, which one costs more? Practical VFX or going complete CGI? Your thoughts on this question will be appreciated in the comment section below. According to sources, dudes had to photograph the live action props and sets in the foreground, but the rest of it was entirely CG. I'm basically liking this in based on the work they put into it. That's how I watch my movies. I don't care how whack a movie might seem, so far as I can learn something new from it, that's it for me. We all know the standard frame rate for most movie production is 24, but Black Adam was shot at a whopping 960 frames per second, and it's seen throughout the entire movie. The slow motions were more calm and cinematic. There is more to talk about, but I'll reserve that energy for another time. Now to my final take on this movie. It's great. The intro was sick and really caught my attention, but 30 minutes to the end of this video is where the story began to crumble down. Simulations are awesome, lighting not so much, but the grading covered most of those mistakes. Fight sequences were awesome, except that you couldn't relate with it. They were just too much for me to wrap my head around. I mean, they can't happen in our normal world. That's why I love my Batman. Everything in that movie is just awesome and relatable. I didn't like any of the epic music they used. Most of the epic slow scenes could have gone in for a more God of War type of music approach. And also, Black Adam's facial expression most of the time didn't look fierce. Since he said he was born out of rage and bows to no one, I was expecting a look that matched his muscles, but dude seemed to be smiling throughout the entire movie. And this little dude here, he talks too much. Kindly leave a comment your best and worst moment. Until my next video, peace out.